Question number 2, what is VFR and why is it important? VFR stands for Visits to Friends and Relatives. It's very important because it is one of the main reasons why people travel. Helps for statistical purposes and can help with marketing or advertising. Question number 3, what are the 4 perspectives of tourism and which ones represent supply, which ones represent demand? Well, tourist is the person who often visits a location for leisure and they spend lots of money there. They're on the demand side of tourism. Another one's the business. They basically sell the product or experience to the customer. They're on the supply side. The government, which is another perspective, they focus on helping the local citizens and they help fund these organizations. They also look at the economic impact on the region and they also regulate the industry itself. They're on the supply side. And the 4th is the host community. They're also on the supply side, and that's where the workers and citizens of the destination live and work. Question number 4, what are the elements that would distinguish someone as a tourist? There's 5 of them. Well, they have to be a non-resident. They must also, it depends on the person's length of stay, the distance traveled from their home. It also is the purpose of their travel, which is very important. And did they spend any money and how much? Question number 5, what are the 2 main ways that visitors are counted and why is it important to know how many visitors come to an area? The 2 main ways that visitors are counted are through total expenditure and the number of people who visited the area. It's important for research and marketing purposes, for businesses and research so they know where the visitors are going, how much they spend, and allows them to compare how much of their customers and locals are tourists or locals. And this information also tells them if their marketing efforts are working. Question number 6, name at least 5 segments of the tourism industry. Well, there's accommodation sector, event sector, attraction sector, food and services sector, transportation sector. And question number 8, what does DMO stand for? What is the mission of a DMO? DMOs come in 2 sizes. What are they? And tell me the difference between them. Well, DMO stands for Destination Marketing Organization. The mission of a DMO is to sell the image and experience of a specific city or area to tourists. There are 2 types. There's the CVB, which is the urban DMO, that stands for Convention and Visitor Bureau, or the TDA, which is the Tourism Development Authority, which stands for a rural DMA. Question number 10, what is the top tourism destination according to rivals in the textbook, and what nation is it? It's France. Question number 11, what's the top tourism destination according to expenditures in the textbook? Well, it's the United States. Question number 14, what is a domestic visitor? And what is an international visitor? Well, a domestic visitor is one that basically travels within their home country, whereas an international one is a person who travels outside or from their home country. Question number 15, what is the name of the state agency that promotes NC as a travel destination? Well, it's the Travel and Tourism Board of NC under the Economic Development of NC Agency. They're the state agency NC that promotes North Carolina as a travel destination, and they also run the Visit NC website. Question number 16, NC is the 6th most visited state in the nation. That's the question and answer. Question number 19, how would you define tourism? I would define tourism as all the activities, attractions, restaurants, and services, accommodations, hospitality employees, and the travel experience itself. I also believe that tourism is where someone leaves their usual area to travel for a day or more for a multitude of reasons. In Chapter 2, question number 20, explain 10 aspects of travel that are the same as it was in ancient earlier times. Well, the first would be the road. The road was used as early as 2050 BC. It was used shortly after the development of the wheel. Since roads were new, they weren't used as much and were not as spread out such as highways are today. However, they used chariots for transportation of goods and trade, for transporting war equipment, soldiers, government officials across the region. The Minoans from 2000 BC to the Romans in 150 BC to the Europeans in the 1000s to the world using it everywhere today. Roads had a major use after the invention of the wheel, even to this day. Another aspect was the wheel. In ancient times, it was used to transport carts and chariots for war and trade. The wheel aided in transportation, as it still does to this day. Stagecoaches, trains, cars, carts, airplanes, they all use it. And they all had a major impact on trade, relations, war, innovation, new creations, tourism, and transportation. Another aspect of trade that's the same was the Olympic Games. They were used as early as 776 BC in Greece, and it was used to honor Zeus through athletics every 4 years. It helped develop the use of inns in Greece along with hot springs, along with there in Europe. The Olympics of today are very similar, that they're still every 4 years. People still stay in hotels and travel the world to see the athletic event occur. Another aspect of trade that's still the same would be tour guides. Herodotus, who was the Greek father of history, traveled across Greece and Italy and learned information from tour guides in the same way that rich Greek tourists back then did, or even current-day visitors would. The use of water transportation, such as canoes and early ships, in 800 BC for trading and travel purposes are used in a similar way by the Phoenicians and the entire world today. Boats in Venice are used to traverse through the city, and tourists use boats for leisure, adventure, and travel purposes as well. Another aspect is the passport. In 1388, England's King Richard II required pilgrims to carry a permit, or passport. And throughout Europe provided hospitality during this time, and the use of a travel permit or passport was needed to go visit specific areas of Europe. The Grand Tour, which is another tourism aspect still prevalent today, was first used as a tour of France, Italy, and many cultural centers for scholars back in 1678. Today, it's used in the same exact way, except for covers more places in Europe and more countries. And instead of it taking 3 years, it takes about 3 to 4 weeks. Another aspect was the creation of traveler's checks, or early day traveler checks, credit cards, financial services. It greatly aided travelers in spending their cash while they were away from home. American Express created these things, and they also utilized travel agents and tours. Many of these are very similar to the credit cards used today by most Americans. Another aspect is tourist attractions. Instead of visiting the Great Pyramids of Egypt or the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, people visit Disney World and Niagara Falls and cities today. Another aspect of travel that's still the same is exploration. People still love to go on adventures and explore the world like they always have. Travel agents still book people to go on trips, and they still use transportation. In Chapter 3, question number 21, what are some advantages and disadvantages of working in the hospitality tourism industry, and name 3 each. The advantages are basically getting to deal with and talk with people and hear their stories from all around the world. There are also many job opportunities, from working at Disney World as a cashier to an airline pilot. There are also many advancement opportunities that occur relatively quickly. Some disadvantages are entry-level positions have low wages. You have to work strenuous, long, hard working conditions in bad weather, and you got to be cheerful around rude guests. Chapter 4, question number 24, why would countries join together and promote themselves, or counties? Well, they do this basically to offer potential visitors more fun and attractive attractions or hotels, and it helps them lure them to a specific area by having more things available. Also, they can do more advertising with more funds. Question number 28, both of the following websites are maintained by Visit NC. What's the difference? Well, the NC Commerce website basically talks about businesses and businesses in the tourism industry. It talks about marketing opportunities, information about NC companies in each industry and sector, and also how to start your own business. Whereas the Visit NC website basically talks about what fun things there are to do and see there, and it tries to get you to go there. Question 30, what is the U.S. Travel Association? Who are its members, and what does it do? Well, it's a nonprofit organization that's based in Washington, D.C. It represents all sectors of the tourism industry, such as airlines, attractions, hotel, travel agencies, tourism organizations as well. It promotes travel to and within the U.S. for all travelers from abroad or at home. They produce research, reports, and statistics about the U.S. travel industry, and they also provide a voice for leadership for the industry in politics and government. And question number 31, select one of the following acronyms. What does it stand for, and what does the organization do? Well, the UNWTO stands for United Nations World Trade Organization. It consists of 154 nations, 7 territories, and more than 400 affiliate members of local governments, tourism associations, institutions, hotels. It's headquartered in Madrid, promotes accessible and safe economic peaceful tourism with respect for human rights and freedoms, and sustainable environment as well.